General Hospital spoilers, FrankValentini admits mistake. Drew leaves GH after Monica's funeral. General Hospital has always thrived on drama, heartbreak, and the kind of twists that keep audiences glued to their screens day after day. But sometimes, the biggest shockwaves don't just happen in Port Charles, they happen behind the scenes. This week, fans were stunned as executive producer FrankValentini finally admitted to making what many are calling one of his most significant missteps in recent years. And the fallout? Cameron Matheson's Drew Cain is exiting the canvas following the heartbreaking funeral of Monica Quartermaine. This turn of events is sending ripple effects across the GH universe, both on screen and off. The admission, the funeral, and Drew's departure are setting the stage for one of the most emotional arcs in General Hospital history. Let's dive into the details, explore how this storyline might unfold, and examine what Valentini's confession means for the future of GH. The Quartermaine matriarch has long been the emotional center of the family. Played with grace and dignity by Leslie Charleson, Monica was not just a doctor, mother, and grandmother, but the glue that often held the sprawling Quartermaine clan together. News of her passing sent shockwaves throughout Port Charles. The writers chose to depict Monica's final moments in an understated, heart-tugging fashion. Monica was seen sitting in the Quartermaine living room, gazing at Edward's portrait, reminiscing about Alan, Lila, and the generations of Quartermaines lost before her. A poignant piano score underscored her quiet exit as she peacefully passed away in her sleep. The funeral episode was a masterclass in nostalgia and heartbreak. Characters from across the canvas returned to honor Monica's legacy. Tracy Quartermaine delivered a sharp yet loving eulogy. Ned and Brooklyn broke down, recalling Monica's constant support, and even Jason Morgan's name was invoked as the son she never stopped fighting for. But perhaps the most devastating reactions came from Drew Cain. Having stepped into Jason's place in many ways, Drew had always felt both a part of and separate from the Quartermaines. Monica was the one who truly embraced him as family. Her loss gutted him in a way that words can barely capture. Following Monica's funeral, Drew begins to spiral. He finds himself lost in grief, struggling with feelings of guilt and inadequacy. He confesses to Sam that Monica always made him feel like he was worthy of the Quartermaine name, but now that she's gone, he no longer feels tethered to Port Charles. Scenes between Drew and Michael are particularly moving. Michael tries to reassure his uncle that Monica's love was unconditional, that she saw Drew as her son, not Jason's replacement. But Drew insists that Monica's passing feels like the universe telling him it's time to leave. This decision doesn't come lightly. Drew reflects on his failed relationships, his inability to connect fully with Scout as he wished, and his complicated role in the Quartermaine legacy. He tells Carly that he feels like a man constantly standing in the shadow of Jason, and that without Monica to remind him of his worth, he no longer knows his place in Port Charles. Ultimately, Drew makes the difficult choice to leave town. His final scenes are raw and emotional. He visits Monica's grave one last time, promising to honor her memory by finding a new purpose for his life away from the Quartermaine mansion. He bids Scout a tearful goodbye, reassuring her that he will always love her, and then disappears into the unknown, leaving fans heartbroken. While Drew's exit is a devastating storyline, the real-life drama behind the scenes is equally explosive. In a rare moment of candor, executive producer FrankValentini admitted during a recent interview that the handling of Drew Cain's arc was a mistake. Valentini confessed that bringing Cameron Matheson onto the show with promises of a front-burner storyline, only to sideline the character repeatedly, was unfair to both the actor and the fans. He acknowledged that Drew's storylines were inconsistent, often lacking direction, and that the character never fully integrated into the canvas the way writers intended. "I think we miscalculated," Valentini said. "Drew is a strong character with a lot of potential, but we didn't give him the stories he deserved. That's on us. Cameron gave his all, but we let the character down." This admission sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Valentini is not known for making such public acknowledgments of mistakes. His words suggest that GH leadership is aware of growing fan frustrations and is possibly reevaluating how it handles legacy characters, newcomers, and story arcs moving forward. Sam is perhaps the most directly impacted by Drew's departure. She shares a daughter, Scout, with him, and Drew's absence will once again leave her in the position of being a single mother. Sam's protective instincts will go into overdrive, and her storyline may shift toward how she balances Scout's grief with her own complicated feelings about Drew leaving. For Scout, losing her father after losing her grandmother is a devastating blow. GH has an opportunity to age the character slightly and lean into the impact of this double loss. Scout could emerge as a surprisingly resilient Quartermaine, embodying Monica's strength while carrying Drew's spirit with her. Drew and Carly's romance was one of GH's more controversial pairings. With Drew leaving, Carly faces yet another heartbreak. Her reaction will likely be fiery and emotional, especially as she feels abandoned by a man who promised her stability after years of chaos. The Quartermaine family is forever altered. With Monica gone and Drew leaving, the clan is shrinking. Tracy, Ned, Olivia, and Brooklyn will be left to carry the mantle, but the Quartermaine mansion feels emptier than ever. This could pave the way for a new Quartermaine to be introduced, or even for Jason's long-rumored return to shake things up. Though not directly tied to Monica or Drew, Sonny will undoubtedly weigh in. Drew's exit weakens Carly, leaving her vulnerable. Sonny may feel compelled to step in, reigniting the Sonny/Carly connection that many fans have been clamoring for. Frank Valentini's rare admission of mishandling Drew raises questions about whether other exits could be looming. The GH cast is sprawling, and fans have long complained that too many characters are underutilized. Could Valentini use this as an opportunity to streamline the cast and refocus on core families? Rumors suggest that Drew's departure may just be the beginning. Other actors could follow if storylines aren't adjusted to better integrate them. Valentini's statement seems to indicate that GH leadership is aware of the problem, but whether they act on it remains to be seen. The GH fanbase has been vocal on social media. Hashtags like #JusticeForDrew and #MonicaForever trended within hours of the funeral episode airing. Many fans expressed heartbreak over losing Monica and frustration over Drew's wasted potential. One fan tweeted, "Cameron Matheson deserved better. Drew was a legacy character with so much potential, but the writers never knew what to do with him. At least they gave him a touching exit." Another wrote, "Frank admitting he made a mistake is huge. Maybe now GH will listen to fans and stop wasting great talent." Still, some viewers were relieved to see Drew exit, believing his storylines had run their course. As always, the GH fandom remains passionate and divided. Soap exits are rarely permanent. While Drew is leaving Port Charles now, the door remains wide open for future return. Monica's death may serve as a catalyst for his departure, but it could just as easily set the stage for a dramatic comeback down the line. Imagine a scenario where Drew returns years later, having reinvented himself and found new purpose, ready to reclaim his place among the Quartermaines. Or perhaps Scout will grow up and track down her father, pulling him back to Port Charles in a touching reunion. The beauty of soaps is that no character is ever truly gone forever. The loss of Monica and Drew's exit create a vacuum that the writers must fill. Will Jason return to honor his mother's memory and reclaim his role in the Quartermaine family? Will a new generation of Quartermaines step into the spotlight? Could this be the moment that GH shifts back toward its core families after years of mob-centered storylines? Frank Valentini's admission may mark the beginning of a new chapter for General Hospital. If leadership is truly willing to own mistakes and adjust course, fans could be in for a revitalization of the show's storytelling. Monica's death and Drew's exit represent a seismic shift for General Hospital. The Quartermaines are forever changed, and the show itself may be entering a new era. Frank Valentini's rare admission of mishandling Drew's character signals that even the most powerful figures in daytime television aren't immune to missteps. But it also suggests that change is possible. For now, fans are left to mourn Monica, say goodbye to Drew, and brace themselves for whatever comes next in Port Charles. One thing is certain, GH will continue to deliver the heartbreak, drama, and unexpected twists that have made it a staple of daytime television for decades.